Hi there, this video is about what you look for when you're purchasing your investment property. Hi there, my name is Sabine Robertson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I like to be your real estate advisor and help and guide you what to look out for when you're buying property in the Emerald Coast in Florida. I always advise you to contact a local agent that is familiar with the area, the flood zones, the zoning, and also the current market condition, because it changes from area to area, even from neighborhood to neighborhood. So this video is a little bit about what to look for when you're purchasing an investment property. So last week I was showing Jim and Holly around to look for some investment property. And when we look at any of the investment properties that they were considering, the first thing you see is the rental protection data from several rental companies. They are always posted on the MLS, and most likely you will find them also on Zillow or Realtor.com. But be aware, these are only estimates and they vary in ranges. Those rental companies want your business, so they try to make these numbers look really good. So one of the most important things you can do is request the actual data from last year. Yes, that is really important. So what you need to consider is June, July, and August here in the Panhandle is our busy season. All the rental properties usually are booked pretty 24/7 at the highest price. Usually July 4th weekend is extremely busy. So prices vary and probably peak right around July 4th weekend. But what happens to the investment property prior to the summer and right after the summer? Because that is important data to look at. How is that property performing in the early spring and in the late fall season? Generally speaking, we have the supply and demand is low in the off season, and most properties are not booked 24/7. The ones that are booked are the ones that maybe have a heated pool, that is a huge plus, and offer some other incentives for the renter. Maybe a kid's room, maybe a golf cart, maybe you're pet friendly. You got to consider all these variables when you're trying to maximize your profit in rental income. Lastly, you need to consider how is the renter company marketing your listing. Are they using up-to-date pictures? I have seen rental companies using pictures from 4 or 5 years ago. And the unit looks so much better in person than on the pictures. Remember, just like when I list a property as a listing agent and I put all my work and effort into making sure this listing is showcased on the internet as a supreme listing with quality pictures, the rental company needs to do the same. They need to market that listing. Supply demand. They need to adjust rates in season, off season. So take a look at the actual history and pattern to the property you are considering to see if it is a good investment. I also have several investment calculators on my website. I'm going to show them to you in a moment. But what I try to do is, are you looking for a cap rate or cash flow, positive cash flow? Each investor has some different guidelines. I usually like to look at the rough 1% rule to see if the investment makes any sense. Meaning, if you buy $1 million home, can you produce somewhere about $100,000 gross rental income minus all the expenses? So your net probably will be around 70 to 75, 80,000, depending on how you are marketing it and what the rental company is charging you. Here in the Panhandle, they can go from 10 to 15 to 25%. The average is about 20% right now. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of calculators that I use, and they're on my website, so you feel free to just click on the link and play around with them. And then I have another calculator I also use depending on what my investor's looking for. So always analyze the data in order to make a good decision. But the other factor that's really important here in the Panhandle is how the home appreciates over the next 5 to 10 years. What's the growth pattern? Maybe for the first 2 years right now in this current market, you will just break even, or maybe even be a little bit in the negative, but down the road, your home will appreciate. I have no doubt in that. Timing is everything in real estate. So if you have any questions, let me know, and let me take you a quick look at my investment calculators. So let me show you a couple of calculators that I use when I work with investors. You can go to my website, sabinerobertson.com, and then when you scroll down to free guides and resources, first of all, under my free guides, I do have an investment. I have a tax guide, and I also have rental income properties that you can scroll through to get you some more additional resources. But I also like my investor calculators. So there are different calculators. Some of them are very helpful for home buyers to calculate, for example, if you do a 30-year versus a 15-year. I do have a great calculator here to see what type of investment is the best. So you can compare a CD stock market to your home appreciation, but keep in mind that you can adjust these percentages on the current market condition. Another calculator that I like to use is an investment calculator, and that one is kind of cool too, because you can put in your price of the home, and it also calculates, how long you want to hold it. It gives you some great information. Like always, I try to give you resources and tools to make good decisions. So if there is a calculator that you're using that you find very valuable, I would love for you to share it with me. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm always here to help. I hope you found this useful and helpful. If you are an investor and you have any questions, I would love your thoughts and feedback, and maybe there is a favorite calculator you use. Share it with me. I would love to learn. Until the next time, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye, tschüss. Oh, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until the next time.